There we go, we're putting our frame into the foam now. This is important to get straight. It's not hard to get straight, but it's also not hard to get crooked. So you just got to keep checking yourself. Pretty useful is a center point in the frame. We've touched on that before, and now touching again. A center point here. We've marked on the other side the center point around the top, and I've also marked. You can't see it here, but the bottom of the foam, I've put a mark on this black calico, so that I can line up this, so I know that'll be centered with the mark in the frame here. That should be enough to get the foam sitting good, and then you're set up well with a good foundation for getting your covers on. You need to keep on pulling this down. Sometimes it might catch around where the button bracket is, or where some of these little metal pieces are. Just help guide it up, and when it's right, you'll find that the foam will come down and get over the bottom of the frame here. So we're pretty much there now on this side, and we're just about there on that side. And we'll put it down. We can feel the top of the frame up here like that. It's good. Now that is looking centered. I'm looking at the center mark here, and it's looking very good. You run your calico strip from the bottom of the foam kit. You run that. Can we see that here? I hope we can. We run it inside, not around the arm. The cover goes around the big hinge here, but this bit of calico at the bottom of the foam actually goes in between the two pieces, and it just sort of like holds everything kind of in alignment for installing the cover. So we'll hold a little clip here, and I'll hold a little clip here, and I'm going to use air tools today just to hurry things along. That's centered. I'm happy with that. Spin it around and show you the center mark. I can't quite see what the center mark is. The center on the frame. I'll just move it here. A little mark we made in the foam, and we just want to make sure that that's going to be centered. We'll keep checking that throughout the install, and it will be good. Now, what we will do next is just verify that it's still coming down far enough. And bring that down. You just need that foam to be coming down just over the back of the frame there. We add a good generous amount of foam so that it's a bit easier to get it wrapped around. Often we'll just be hogging literally through the foam and the calico on these rails here. Don't need too many, just enough to hold the foam in place whilst we're installing. Okay, we cut the top now. Here is going to be where it all begins. So we've put this mark here, this is the center of the thing. This needs to be right above that middle lug at the top. And if it's not, we're going to adjust it at this point and make it work. So we'll flip around there. To do this, you're going to put 3 cuts, each one probably 30 mils long easily, right? So we're going to do the first one in the middle, and as I know where these go, the second ones come right around like the middle of this top corner in each one of these pieces, and you'll be in line with the lug. So probably about another 30 mil wide cut, just around the sort of apex of that corner at the top. Now, what you do is you put your finger through and you hope, look at that, and we are literally exactly on the middle now. It's usually pretty accurate, and this time is literally perfect. So we're actually going to grab the cover, and we're going to film up close a little bit as we do that, and we'll be back in a moment when we do that. We're now showing the back of the cover charger backrest before we put it on, right? So you've got 3 listing wires. We've got 2 on the side, 1 at the top. This is the one that we start with. This is the most important one to set in everything. You can call that your datum if you like for the seat. Okay, so this is going to be held into the top listing pocket, into the frame here. So we'll put that here for a moment. We'll look at our frame. What we have here, I've already cut 3 holes about this big, if you can see. Holes are cut in the frame, and see our center mark here. If we look carefully into here, you'll see. Can we see it? Oh, you can see it here. There is our lug. You see that it's basically matching the center point. If it's you want it to be very much on center. Okay. You got 1 lug here, and the other 2 are. You can see where we cut the frame on each side. There's also a cut in the side of the frame here. And peekaboo, there's a little lug, and over here as well. Same thing on each side, right? So we're going to be now trying to get this. Now, one way that can work if you're struggling to get it is to fish a zip tie through, and what you do is you'd pull this one up, loop this around the bottom. It takes sometimes a few goes. What you can do is you can put that on, and you can use that to temporarily hold your cover down, hold your wire down. So we'll put the whole cover inside out to get started. We've already put these listing wires in, which is kind of handy. Now, to do it the zip tie way, you would loop that through, and you can slowly go down with this. Now, you don't need to. I usually don't. I usually just put a hog ring straight down in the middle there. But this is a sort of gentler, slower way to do it. You'll poke your wire in. So you can guide those down slowly as we're going. Get a bit more pull out of that listing. We're still checking our center point. We're checking our center point on the foam, and the center point on the we've marked on the listing pocket, and of course there's a notch in the cover, which is the true center point of the cover from when we sewed it. Keep pulling it down, and this way it's quite simple. You hold it down. You can see that lug is here for this one. We get the 2 side hog rings on first. So I'll actually try to do that straight off the bat now. We've got that there. I'm going to spin this hog ring plier around, and sometimes you will go back to this several times, and sometimes feels like we got it. So that's your corner hog ring on. Repeat this on the opposite side, and then we'll cut the zip tie off and come back for the middle. So keep pushing that foam out of the way. Feeling for it. Okay, it's right there. We're right in the right place for it. If you can see that little there. I'm actually going to cut a tiny bit more of the hessian back here, just to give us a bit more room to do it. It's a little bit tricky, but see we've got that there now, so this shouldn't be a difficult one. Now, if you're left-handed, this will be great from this side. But yeah, basically you get down there and don't do that. Don't just let go of the hog ring before you put it on, because then you have to do it all over again. But we put this in. I think this one will be easy. Crush it down in. Move that foam. Try and tuck it to the correct side. We'll come back in afterwards and make sure the foam is tucked the right side of everywhere it needs to be. There's our lug. We're coming in, poking through there. I think we've got that one too. So there we go. You see we've got 2 lugs, both hovering down. Now we're going to come back to the middle, and we'll do this one last. So alternatively, if you do this one just with a hog ring to begin with, you would be finished at this point. But okay, take that one off. Pull your zip tie out. You can't leave them in. Don't be tempted to leave that in there. It would snap after not very long, and then you'd see it would look bad. So clear that hessian away as much as we can. I'm gonna be expected. I find that often you do these a couple of times to get them in. And I've done a few of them. Crush the thing down again. It's right next to it. You know where it's trying to go. We'll probably cut out to this part, okay, will we? Mm-hmm. So it's not nothing, and you joined us. We're putting the middle hog ring in. Okay. And that one's on. So you see that hog ring is through there into the lugs. Now we've got all 3 hog rings done. That's probably the hardest part of these seats, if not the second hardest part of these seats. Okay, we've just shown you installing that top listing wire, and we've picked up the video from here. The part we're going to do now is it's very similar to what we did with the cushion, where we use zip ties to hold these 2 listings down. So we've got both of our wires are in here. We're happy with our seat cover. We've got the centre notch in the seat sitting over the centre in that, and meeting up with the centre notch in the bottom of the frame. That's all good. What we're now going to do is we're going to fish a bunch of zip ties through from the back, poke them up the front here. We're going to loop them through the listing pockets and pull the cover down to get it sitting in the right place before we put hog rings on. So we'll take you through that process. We'll show you how we put them on. We'll show you how we attach the top of the listing wire from the top, and we'll go through all that next. I'll do a lot of this in fast speed so that you don't have to sit here for so long watching, and that's what we're going to do now. So with no further ado, we are going to show you what we do here. So we grab our zip ties, we're going to flip the frame upside down. Now what you can do usually is get your hand, I've got my left hand coming around, sort of feeling it. So right here I'm touching my fingertip here. I've got this little regulator, and you can sort of like line up where a wire is going to be, where you can feel your finger in the back. You can make a little opening in the back of the hessian, and you can start poking your zip ties through. So it's probably roughly every 3rd wave in these springs as you go down. Poke a zip tie through, pull it back around, and again you're not going to leave these installed, but you're going to get the covers all lined up on the frame with them. So focus there. Show you what we're doing, if it's catching it. Basically feeling my own fingertip here, make a little hole in the hessian, poking one of those up. Now I reckon we're just going to press fast. I'll explain what we're up to. Ready? Okay, here we are, and we've just which you've just seen us in super fast motion putting these zip ties through the frame. Basically left with an arrangement like this with a bunch of these ready to pull down. You can see how this works, similar to the backrest. We're just going to pull them in and line them up. So again, I'm about to go super speed on you. We're going to first of all, check our listing wires are all where we want them to be. This one slipped down a little bit, so I'm just going to pull that up. Bottom. That one's still good. Check our alignment's good. That's still good. That's still good. That's bang on actually, that's really good. You want to give you, before you start putting these up, you want to have a pretty much vertical, like a direct pull as much as you can from these, right? So if you pretty much position them facing up, you know they're going to be right. And before you do it, and throughout the process as well, just give a little gentle tug, just to make sure that we've got the cover sitting down where we want it to be. And it doesn't have to be a wrench, it's just a bit of a tug, because the last thing you want to do is have the cover slip up a little bit as you move it around when you're putting them through and get pulled down in the incorrect position. So just every now and then, just a little gentle pull down there, and it'll keep everything where it wants to be. Not much more. This is the same as with the cushion. We're piercing the listing pockets with a little needle or regulator, and then we're going to fish these zip ties back down through the springs and gently tie them off. And I'm going to go and do this at super speed right about now. Pretty much flip this over now, and we're going to go through here. We're just going to check that we're happy with how things are sitting. You can see this foam needs to be tucked in to go down the inside of that listing wire. We can do that from both sides. You can kind of get your hand up inside here, and you can sort of feel and guide the middle section of foam to be on the inside of those pockets, and the same for the outside section. Hold that down there. I'm going to come back and tighten these listings a bit more now. What we'll do now is we're getting the top, so you can see that the zip ties are only holding from about here. So the very top of this listing wire, which comes up to about here, we're going to get another 2 hog rings above the top zip tie. We're going to reach down from above and put them. So the first one we're going to do, we're going to feel, you possibly can't see it with the camera that well, we're going to feel for the very top of the frame. We actually hog ring at the very top of it onto the frame, and located that little bit here, it's the edge. There you go, I can see here. You're basically aiming the top hog ring to grip over the part of the frame that is at the very top of the spring, if that makes sense. There's a little point there where you'll be able to get a hog ring on. And you do that at each side, you have a very even level where the top of those sleds are held down. So I've got that lined up. Look, you might want to put a little mark with, I'm going to use some chalk. So I'm going to mark where I'm going to go. But use chalk than ink, probably. You probably can't even see that, I don't know if the camera can see that. I've got a little mark where I'm aiming for. And I'm just going to reach in when I put the hog ring in. And top here, you want to make sure you get your foam coming on the right side of the listing layer. Each piece is on its appropriate side, so I'm fishing that foam back in with my finger. Wiggle that in. That's where we want it. And down there. And that's held there. Next one, we're going to aim for spring. Look out there. This is delicate, but with your fingertip you're just feeling down to locate the spring. Hold on to at the top here. You can, often you might use your regulator to just sort of push the first hole through, so you know you have to go through here. You can actually feel, if you can feel the spring with that, and I've got one hole pushing straight down. I know if I put a hog ring through about here, that I should be getting what I want. And there we have it. So we've got now two. You can see that. The top of that listing here, we've got two hog rings held down. Top one is onto the frame. The second one's onto the near the top of the spring. That's the first zip tie that we've got in. We'll pull that out soon and replace that with a hog ring as well. Actually, that's what we'll do right now. So we'll chop out this slip tie, and pull that through, and spring. Feel that we've caught that there. So we're now very secure at the top of this side. Flip around and we'll repeat it on the other side. So again, we've got a little bit of chalk that we'll mark where we're up to. We need to fish the foam so that the wire is coming down, that's all on the right side of it. Now we'll feel through to, that's our point in the frame that we're going for. Now, a little mark just there so we know what we're doing. That's definitely right what we're going for. You can feel it, there's like a little ridge where the top of the springs are held in. Top one is now on, so that's going to be held down there. Now grab your regulator or your needle and we'll load up a new hog ring and we'll find where the spring is for that one. So let's go do that now. So feeling around, look at that, it's right here. Poke that foam out of the way. Now we'll mark this so we do it the right way. Okay, we're going right about here. Poke. Okay. So that hole's there, that's a guide for that hog ring. And we'll come in sort of an angle like that. Hopefully I've caught the spring there. Like so. That's 1, 2, and then we'll also cut that zip play out like we did on the other side and replace that with a hog ring. You pretty much see that's right where that hole is. It's on the spring too. So we've got top held in. It's starting to hold this bottom down now with hog rings at the top. Now we're still going to pull some of these down a bit tighter as we get down, but these ones here are in. We're happy with those. We're happy with how the top sits up here. A little bit tight there, so we'll not sure what's up with that tightness here, so we'll make sure that the foam is where we want it to be on the inside. Yeah, it's all been captured down there. That's about what we want there. That'll all come up even as we start pulling these ones down. Okay, we are going to just check the back, check how these are sitting, check the springs that we like, and also check that our hog rings went through. We can see, sort of see them coming through onto the spring, and up a bit further you can see 2 of them here on the spring on each side. That's good. So we can check. We're happy with the way everything's sitting here, so we tighten this up a bit more. Snap. Snap, so we'll leave that. But we'll come back in a while to get all these down. These are temporary. Okay, just put some batting around. I find it's a good idea, just a bit of not absolutely necessary, but it's just nice to cover this glue line in the cover with a thin layer of batting, and you then know that you're not going to see it out through the covers after they're installed. Not necessary, but probably worth doing. What we're going to do now is we've got this thing's held down all around. We are going to wrestle and stretch and move the cover from the bottom and the top at the same time. You've got this way, you've got your one side, another side, and you've got your flap in the middle. What we're going to do is we'll start with the side. We're going to start by sort of getting it over both ends at once. So it's not like you do the bottom first and then the top. This is more of a the whole piece over at once type move, and it's not one move as well. It's a lot of little small stretches to get to go. Now, as you're doing this, you want to watch this little corner at the top here, just where this intersection of this piece is. As you're stretching this over, you want to just be mindful that could tear here. So you want to kind of hold that, reinforce it as you're folding it over. When you're doing it, you'll understand. So for now, we're just going to make a start, and this is how it's done. You just sort of stretch your cup over a bit here. This will probably lift off as we go over here, but just to kind of get a feel where it all wants to go. Stretch this over here, and we'll lift that up for a bit. So you probably would actually go for the top over first. So you want to try and sort of pull that back quite a bit, and then support this with your thumb as you're rolling it, just to make sure it's not getting overstressed. Now it's over, it's fine. And we're going to just mindful with that batting, try and stay over that glue line where it's doing its thing. Keep bringing this down. You have to do many passes, and each time we do it, we just get the cover a little bit tighter. The wrinkles all kind of pulled out a little bit each time. What we're going to try to now is roll this bottom edge around a bit more. It's got quite a way to go, so the bottom's got to come out. This part of the cover here is actually got to get all the way around to here. We've got to keep making sure that our foam is well and truly past the bottom of the frame. And really, this is just a process of pulling it a little bit each time, trying to crush the foam down and roll the cover around a little bit more time after time. And we've got that around here for now. We'll leave that for a bit. What we're going to have to do now is come back to the top, where we're going to try and stretch this up so that we get the top of the headrest piece coming down quite far. What we'll do first though is we'll get the other side put back into pretty much this state, because it's easier to work the top around when both sides are coming around at the top there. So this side has also got, there's the hook on this side, and the hook's got a little cable. So as we get around to installing that, we're going to have to put a slight cut. We have to cut a little bit out of the bottom panel here, just to allow the cable to come in and around. So as we do that, we'll slowly mark and cut when we get there, which will be very soon. So same thing on the side, we've got a bit of batting just covering, not much, just a bit of batting there covering that glue line, and just in case you could feel that through the foam. Now we're going to do the same thing here, where we will actually go for the top, getting it over first. So we'll try and bring it a fair way up, and we'll hold that quite, support that top bit of the cover there, try and roll it around the top. Foam's still covering the frame, that's good. Try to get that some of the way down now. Now it's still got a fair way to come. down. So what we'll do at this point is we'll try to, is we're going to get this pipe here sort of needs to come back around quite a bit on each side, and there's a lot of slack here. You can see I can just pinch that and feel that slack. So we're going to roll the top of the headrest here around. So the pipe sort of probably sitting up around the middle, kind of close to where the glue line is in the foam piece at the top here. We're going to get this pipe. So once we've done that to both corners of the top, it'll release more material at the top of the covers here to slide down, which will help this part of the cover here come down to that wire, and will also help the bottoms of the covers, like this whole piece will slide down to where it needs to be at the bottom and sit properly. So the first step now is I'll turn it around here so it's easy for me to get to. I'm just going to roll that around a few times. The easiest way to see it through the camera is probably here. If you can't see it, it's, well, I'll do my best to get it visible. What I'm doing is trying to grab slack that I can feel in here and lift it out, and then we're sort of rolling it. We're just going to roll that slack all the way out sort of to the edge of the frame down. And this is going to take a lot of goes. Who knows, we might even just fast forward through some of this. So you'll know when it's time to get there, this will be coming, the bottom here will be coming closer to the rail on the frame where we get, so as you can still see we've still got a good amount to get stretched around, and you can see there's still a bunch of slack on the top here. So that is the game. It's called rolling it around. And some days it just takes a while. Just want to be mindful that the pipe, there's a pipe coming around here. So the back of the pipe you've got a seam. So you just want to make sure that that's all sitting out, like the back of this pipe piece is flipped over the correct way. You don't want it to be turning on itself. So you can feel it here. You can see there's a bit of it here. We want it all this way, and basically this piece is going to come back to cover that glue line in the foam. We're really close now. This way. After a time we'll start to do it down this way, and then it's going to, all these baggy things you see here, we'll keep pulling that skin down that way as well, which will help it skin reach the bottom of the foam, bottom of the frame down here, and eventually we'll pull it over here, pull it over there, and then we'll pull it all down to the bottom, and that's sort of how we're going to get the thing to be nice and tight on the foam. So we're still going, and this is, there's no quick way. This is what these seat skins require. Now that that's there, we've got the top looking a lot closer, okay? Up this way, we've still got to bring them out these directions now. And then shortly we'll need to cut the channel for that cable to fit through on the hook side. I'm going to stretch this down a bit, and then I'll cut that for the hook. So again, it's a similar thing to what we're doing up here. We can see these baggy ripples are showing us, you know, which way does it want to go. It wants to be tight. That skin wants to head down that way. Try and take those waves. We've already contained a lot of the slack. First pull, really. I want to get that and take that right off the edge of the cover, and we'll can't see the face of it, but basically we're trying to pull slack out of it here for a while, and it still is only a really preliminary pull at the moment because we haven't got the whole corner of the cover ready yet. We're just going to get a bunch of this down, get a bit more room in the back of the cover here to get it across. So put it down for a moment here. What we'll do is we'll go a clip and we're going to hold. Now there's a way to come here too. So the wire here shows you the wire in frame is here. This needs to get to here, so there's still a long way of stretching that around. This is definitely the harder piece. The backrest is a lot harder than the cushion. Now I'm just going to hold this for a very preliminary look. Put one clip on here. Now the edges of our covers, just to show you, we use a reinforcing. It's called twill tape. We just, similar to what seatbelts are made of really, and we just it's just a nylon tape, but this is all around the edges here where we're going to hog ring. So it does mean you can put a few hog rings if you need to take them out or whatever. You're not going to damage it. Okay, we can still see we need to come down a fair bit here. That's close but not enough. That means that this is going to still want to come down a bit more, but before we can even do that on this side, which has got the cable on it, we sort of should cut our little relief in the bottom panel. So to do that, it's probably a good idea to mark it first. So we've got a pen and I've got a pair of snips here. And let's see how to go with that. See what we're doing here. What we're going to do, this kind of gets a little channel coming through. Go really slow with this. You don't want to take too much, so you don't want to come too close to the edge of this. We can say I'm going to come about. I've done them before, so I sort of know where they go. But I'll mark it anyway, just to start with. Over here and here. So a little cut about there. This is all kind of covered up at the end by that flap anyway, so, and this is how they're done from factory. Cut, allow that to come in, and definitely when you're doing this yourself, always mark, go really slow with this part so you don't make any kind of stuff ups. And approximately, probably like that. Probably have to come and cut a little bit more, but it's better to go on the I haven't cut as much side of things to start with, and you can always add a little bit more to your cut as you pull the skins over the frame. Now that's done, what we want to do, we're going to get this corner of the cover, so she's going to make it all the way over to here where it's going to cover that bottom little hole where the backing board pushes in. So we're quite close already, but we want to have that down. The seam's got to be down at the bottom of the foam. And when it's there, we know that we've got the cover in the right position. So we'll just do this now, and I'll stop. More work, less chatter. We'll definitely edit that out. Okay, so we can go down. Start pulling. You can already see the side starting to lose its wrinkles. That down, keeping the tension on here. We'll now try to, whilst still holding that slack out of it, we'll put a bit of pressure on here. Now I can see already that I need a little bit more cut from this little relief in here because it's starting to butt up against that, so I'll just come in a little bit more. That should stretch right around here past the cable and the stopper. And it's going to be very damn close to where we want it to go. And I'll check you got the clearance here. I think we actually need a little bit more. Just got to take a little bit out from here. And you can do this in place. Once you've got yours sitting to sort of this point, you'll see just where to take a little bit more out to stop that chafing. And there we go. See where we're going now. Just about there. I can see we need a bit more pull down. So that's when you come back up to here and you're literally taking it right from the top. And this helps you get your skins really tight, okay? So we're come up here, we're pulling that slack all the way down over the foam. All handfuls of it, and roll that right down to the end, and you see what's happening. It's giving me the room. I need this seam to come down 5 mils, right? So you're pulling that out, rolling that down, and you can see the seam now at the bottom. That's coming to be exactly where it's supposed to. So we're going to pull on that a little bit, and again, because of having the reinforcing in the sides here, you can actually give that a good hard yank. Let it clip off. That's probably stopping it coming down. Pull. That's a bit of bump from there, but it's nothing too major. That is now going to come across. That comes across to where it wants to be. A little bit more. There we go. I'll hold that one over here with another clip for a moment. Check that we're happy with that. I think we can still persuade this down just a little bit more. So, as you do this, each time you do this, you get it looking tighter and better on the top. Still, see, as we've got that down to the right place, the cable is starting to touch the colour. So we'll do it the right way. We'll mark what we're going to do before we cut it. We're going to cut here, and just out there a bit. Okay, so that's going to help us clear that little, the cable and the little cable stopper at the end here. Take a little bit, like look, I'm just taking these tiny little cuts. That should be where we want it there, okay? So we'll put, so we know that is the right location, okay? The very end of that seam comes down right to where that hog ring is there. So I'm actually going to put one on now. Then we know that is definitely where that part goes. We're going to do the same for the other side. We'll get that bottom corner held down. So you see where we're up to now. The cover's still here. This is going to make it over that part of the frame, okay? So when you've got this seam here, there's your, with the hog rings here, here's the bar on the frame that you need that to get to, okay? You need this to get to over there, and once it's there, you'll be bang on, everything will line up. So you're going to keep stretching. We also see now we've done it this side. We're going to keep stretching this one all the way down. It's going to go over here, and then this is going to line up and go up there. These are going to line up and hit this bar here, and then your cover's going to be nice and straight. So onwards we go. just got a short break then to this is getting a bit warm to turn the air conditioner on. It's quite physical, I'll tell you that. This is like, you know, Greco-Roman wrestling. You're really kind of getting into it with the seat. Now, we just told you what we're going to do. We're going to bring the other side down now. Same process. We're going to roll a little bit more over the top so that we get that giving us the room slipped over the top to bring the back down to the bottom, and then everything will start to look ship shape. So I'll just get on with it. We're just going to roll a tiny bit more over here. The non-hook side is actually easier because you don't have to do anything here. You just get it over. You don't have to do any cuts or anything. Now I'm going to keep on coming from the top down. So what I'm doing is, just like I said, we're grabbing a bunch of slack here to start with, hitting it over the top to give us some more room around the back of the headrest here. Now we're also, you can see these ripples are telling us that this skin wants to be pulled down that way. So we're also going to start to do that in a moment as well. A bit of both really, and multiple times as well. You're not going to get it in one movement. So feel that feeling good. It's starting to get next to the wire on this side, which is good. It's often a little bit easier on the non-button side in these seats with the button brackets, because the brackets actually pump things up just that little bit where they are. So a bit from here, right past that corner, and down. See, now we're getting this back of this hood here is now getting to within where we need it to be with this bar at the back, and that's telling us what we need to know. A little bit more from here. Again, it's a little bit of time spent up at the top here is going to leave you with a nicer looking, you know, top headrest section in the car. So it's well worth just spending 10-15 minutes, whatever it is, just fussing over these little bits at the top. Okay, that one's down quite close to where I think it's going to stuck. Hold on a clip, but you can actually, for these top ones, probably just just hold that down. And try and get the same result on this side. Then we'll know that we've got both of our backs of the headrest down, and then we'll wrestle this side all the way down the bottom. So just grabbing more slack here. It's a great opportunity to get this really good and tight at the top. I really like it. So you can kind of, you know, eyeball it, look at one side, look at the other, make sure that they're symmetrical. Ripples of slackness out. Okay. That look quite good to me. Okay. So now we'll see about holding that one down. Wow. well. It's in about the same place, so we're happy enough to commit to this one being down about there. I'll bring that one down later at the end, but we'll just leave it hanging loose for now. The next thing to do is to bring this last side down. So those telltale ripples looking like that are saying it wants to stretch this way. Slowly take it out past the pipe. Aiming for now is to still checking that our foam is covering the frame, which is here. We're aiming for this point here, for this corner of the skin. Yeah, it's still quite a way from there yet, but we'll get there. Free up a bunch of room for yourself. You can kind of crush these bulgy parts in. Just roll that slack over as it gets here. You're gonna start. Even I'm just hugging it now, just giving it the message that it's got to go where it's got to go, and you get it looking nice and tight. It's already. I'll show you what we're looking at. I'm looking at it from my side. It's already really starting to tighten up now. We haven't even got the hog rings on it yet. So that bottom corner is practically where it needs to be now. See, it stretches around now. There's your little tab where the backboard goes on. So stretch it a tiny bit more. Roll this down a bit. And this really is, do this a few times a day and you'll sleep well. Alrighty, that's where I want that one. So we'll grab another hologram. There. So we've got that around. Both these are held at the bottom corners. We know that's where they go. Okay, so from here on out we've got two bottom corners pulled down and held. We've got the edges of the skin where we've got the twill tape backing. That's where we want to be putting our hog rings through onto this bar that comes up the side. Okay, so we know what we're in the ballpark on both sides. So what we're going to do now is quite straightforward. We're just going to kind of gently roll the cover in just to take up slack where we think it needs to be taken up, which is basically just trying to get rid of these little puckery bits in the top in the inside of that curve here. Okay. Just keep bringing it down. Lead from the top down, so you pull what you need here. And then let that kind of flow through and come out the edge of the seat skin as you're rolling it down. So we've got still a little bit of a dimple there. We don't like that, so we're gonna come. Now you don't get these perfect because after they're installed, you can just leave them in the sun on a hot afternoon or something, and it'll do wonders and get any little bits out. But put it in the best position that we can whilst we're installing it, and we'll just give you a great result. Okay, that's looking pretty good. We'll come through here. I reckon I'm going to start saying that I'm quite happy with where this side is sitting. You just want to get a handful of hog rings, 5 hog rings on each side maybe. We'll just count as we go, see what we do. So we go. You can use your pliers. I'm only using this because it's a little bit quicker. here. Same thing, we'll just have a quick pull down of this side to kind of get any of those last little bits tightened up. Pulling that down, rolling that slack and the covers out, down, and right over the edge. Okay, this point's quite good advice too. Try and feel where your button bracket is. Now I can just feel that through the frame, right? Just to, it's quite ugly. I don't like it when I see these seats where people pull the pipe all the way down and install over it. So if you're fussy with that, just make sure that you're happy. And if you found that your button bracket, you got to this point and you're like, oh crap, my button bracket's sitting over my pipe. Well, at this point, you'd know where it's going to come to. You could pull the side of the cover off, loosen those screws, move it around somewhere better. It's like, if you want to put it through the middle of your pipe, by all means you can, but don't, because it's quite ugly. But so anyway, this is your time to do it, right? So look, you can't really see in the camera, but I'm pushing down. I can actually, because I know these seats quite well, I can actually feel here is the hollow in the bracket where my button's going to go. So I know by the time I put that outside piece on it, it's going to sit here, nice and safely on this side of the pipe. So just a little thing that you could still alter at this point of your install. If you got here and it was in the wrong place, just come back and do it again, call it a practice run, and you can position it again in a better spot. So onwards we go. So still, we're just about here, just trying to pull it, whoops, daisy, pull the last few little ripples out. We usually do this on a bigger table, but for the video it's a little cool. We'll be happy with that there. Now that's pretty much the cover held on. We're gonna, at this point, it's probably good to, if you can get a chance to just fish, because later on we're going to have to come through and cut little holes here to put the clips in through the backing board. So I try to, if I can, at least check that it's going to be easy. So I might fish a bit of the calico out of the way, or something. You don't have to do it now, but it's not a bad time to do it. This one here, we're just going to cut. That one is actually clear. Another good tip, don't put your hog rings too far up here or here, because it could hold the cover in a little bit tight. It just makes sealing in the hole back up with the backing board a little bit hard. So it's quite good to have a bit of bounce in this part. Even here might be a little bit close with that hog ring. We'll see when we put it on. Here's where I like to leave them, because this part here has got foam under it, and it will just give you a nice, it will push up against the backing board and it will look tidy. And again, who really cares, because who's going to sit in the back of a charger, but you know. So that should now meet, look at that, it just meets up with the wire. Give it one more check so we're even at the top. That's pretty good to me. We're still going to come back and massage this, and we're still going to pull these listings down even tighter from behind, so it's going to come up very, very tight. Okay. I think that's good. Pipe these straight. Flip around. Good chance to just get in there and check that it's sitting the right way around. There it is, and it's all around there, that's good. So we'll bring it back. Alrighty, what we're going to do next is we're going to pull in, what we haven't done too, we haven't hog ringed this on yet, okay? We're still going to need to get our hands in the back here to maybe feel for this listing wire to hold it up as we hog ring. So the next step we're going to do now that we've got the face mostly on, right? The face is on, the sides are installed. We're going to come through and we're going to put a bunch of hog rings down, pull these zip ties out to hold the listing wires in. So that's pretty much a great thing to fast forward through, and I'd say we'll probably do that, so you guys all know how to do this. By now we've done the cushion already. We're just going to reach through here with a few hog rings, and probably every 3 waves in that spring, hold it down and just use your judgment. If it looks like it needs an extra one somewhere, just chuck it in. So you can just go, I can feel, I'm pulling up on the zip tie, it's given me enough grip on it to feel the wire right here. So I can, for example, just put this one straight on, I can check it's there, the wire's there, it's done. And just go through and do that. Now I'm just going to do it the fast way with the air gun. So reaching in behind here, grabbing the back of that wire, and you can sort of feel when you get in it there. One, here, down. That's one. Where's the wire? Here we go. About the same level. Switching everywhere. You can get behind it and pull it up to where it needs to be. Okay, that's good there. So with those done, now we can say thank you zip ties, you've done a great job, and you're all going to get chopped off. Okay, now that's pretty much those held in place. Now we can flip her up again, and what have we got here? We've got it's starting to look quite a tightly installed seat. These bits here we still will massage a bit more, and all these little room flip-falls will come out until we've got one that looks basically like that one there. The next step you're going to do is just hold the bottom down with some hog rings. So this is quite important to get it right. Again, we have, it's quite a high stress point here really. We've got tool tape reinforcement at the bottom. Now this one is coming to come up and hit that rail there, so we'll get around here. Basically, again, just double check your centre points are still all good, these are still bang on. Hold her up, probably, look, just put a clip on to, a couple of clips on just to hold it in place before you completely commit to it. And we're all saying it looks good. It looks good, it comes to the right point here. I'm happy with that. I'm gonna hog ring it down now. Really firmly on. You've got these two little flaps here. These ones don't pull them tight. Just sort of pull them a little bit, but don't put much stress on them. And they will sort of, you just find a nice spot for them. 1 or 2 hog rings is all that they'll need. something like that. It's pretty tight. There. Make sure we're around enough. And that's just gonna. This also covers up, you know, the bottom of that piece where we cut away the bit for the cable to go in. So that is pretty much installed. What we'll do now is just give it a few little massages just to pull any wrinkles out. If you've got any that you're not happy with, leave it in the sun for an afternoon and you'll find that your set's going to be quite fantastic. But that is a charger backrest installed. Yeah, really just all you've got left to do. I'll show you the camera now. That's our charger backrest. You can just kind of like massage this out. It's all tight, it's all where it should be. And you will find that when you come back to it, I think it's going to look fantastic. They always look better after about a day of sitting, you know, all the back ends of the pipes all rest down into the foam nicely, and you'll have a seat. So yeah, that's that. We've actually done, here's the one we did the other day. That's his friend there.